Number 13. Oh, interesting. A woman who studied Torah will receive reward, of course. However, the reward will not be as great as man's, since she is not commanded in this mitzvah. Whoever perform a deed he is not commanded to do does not receive great reward as one who performed the mitzvah that he is commanded to do. So that's a general statement, and let's read this piece again, this commentary, and I'm going to explain. A woman, commentary. The first halachah of the chapter relates to women are not obligated to study Torah. Okay, so we remember. A woman who studies Torah will receive reward. However, that reward will not be as great as man's, since he was commanded in this mitzvah. So when we commanded in any mitzvah, so we have a greater eitzachara in that, much greater, right? So, but if you're not obligated, okay, you volunteer, so there is no problem. So you come and learn, you enjoy, and it's very interesting, right? But for man, it's so hard for him, like it's unfortunate because the eitzachara is very strong, not prevent him from getting this reward, the biggest reward. So that's why his reward is greater, because resistance is greater. Whoever performs a deed which is not commanded to do does not receive as great reward as one who performs mitzvah he is commanded to do, which we just explained, but let's see, here's a commentary. Tosafos Kiddushim 31a explained that the person who is commanded to perform a mitzvah will be more conscious of the obligation and try to fulfill it more fastidiously than a person who performed the same act of voluntarily. So here the Tosafos gives us a totally different, another aspect of this. Why somebody who is obligated is going to get a reward, besides it's a hara, of course. That also stands and valid. The person who is obligated today to do something, he would be more what was the word? Conscious of his obligation, right? He would pay attention to the detail, not just do, but try to concentrate. Okay. Because why? Because he's obligated to do. Okay, continue. Hasidic thought explained that concept differently. A Hebrew word mitzvah, commandment, share the same root as connection. Okay, fulfilling the commandments establish a transcendent bond with godliness. In a contrast, a good deed that is not commanded, no matter how worthy, remain as an act of man and does not establish such a connection. That's a very interesting thing. So when a person is doing mitzvah, it's we have 613 ways to connect to HaShem. So when he does mitzvah, so there is like one strand of rope, right, to connect to HaShem, right? But if he's not obligated, she's not obligated to do so. I mean, she's still going to get reward according to this explanation, but the bond is not established because she's not obligated. But there are many other, as we explained in the beginning of this section, that women get different rewards. Okay, continue. 86. Even though she will receive reward, the sages commanded that a person should not teach his daughter Torah, because most women cannot concentrate their attention on a study, and thus transform the words of the Torah into idle matters because of the lack of understanding. Okay. So let's do it again, and we explain. Even though she will receive the reward, the sages commanded that a person should not teach his daughter's Torah. 87. There is no explicit source in a Rambam statement, though one may draw such a conclusion from Sota 20a. That passage relates that one prominent sage, Ben Azai, did not share this opinion. As mentioned in the commentary to Halachah 1, rabbis require a woman to study the laws governing to the mitzvahs which she is obligated to fulfill. And as we explained, it's a lot, right? So in many times, men would rely on women be expert in these halachas. These halachas, for example, of koshering. I have no idea what is kosher, like what is not kosher, how to kosher, how to cook, how not to cook, this and that. And like laws of family purity. Only a few men ever learn like even basic, like very basic. Unfortunately, right? Men must know all these things. Based on that decision, many contemporaries explain that the Rambam statement refers only to intensive study of the subject matter described in Gemara as a Gemara in previous Halachah. So intensive study. So of course, it's not for women. And one explanation that I heard from Rabbi Mizrachi Shlita. So why women should not study Gemara? Because since they don't have evil inclination to study, they're not obligated, no evil inclination, and plus it's so interesting and it's so involved. So she would like dedicate herself completely, and she would not want to get married and have children. You understand? Because she would get so much enjoyment from that, and that's why we said, just limit whatever, and then she's going to go against her purpose of her creation in life. So she was not created for study Torah. Okay. But she was created from other things which she neglects, of course. That's the issue. Okay. So let's do from the beginning. Even though she will receive reward, our sages commanded that a person should not teach his daughters Torah because most women cannot concentrate on their attention on study. Okay, commentary. Commentaries have mentioned that by adding the word most, Rambam implies that if the father sees that his daughter is capable of such a study, he should afford her an opportunity. Of course, some women are very sharp, right? And in my office where I work, especially in the past few years, all of the bosses were women. It's unbelievable, all of them. No, not all of them. That the top was men, but two bosses above me were women. Just put it this way. Okay. So women today are much more advanced than they were in that time. Of course, they get in a different education, and they're smarter. They more understanding. They have logic and this and that. But still, the problem is it's not their purpose in life, right? But as commentators say, of course, I mean, if they're smart, of course, father has to develop it. Okay, so and thus, so they cannot concentrate on the study, and thus transform the words of the Torah into idle matters because of the lack of the understanding. Kinyat Eliyahu notes the contrast between the first clause, a woman who studies, and the command the sages gave a father. Okay. He differentiates between the study of a woman, that the study of the woman undertakes voluntarily, which is considered desirable, and the father is training his daughter in matters which is not necessarily relevant to her. Okay. Very interesting. So, and it's like, you see, people who never learn the Talmud and other things, they have some, I don't know, maybe secular people, right? They maybe have MDA or some educated people, right? So and you start studying with them, and they try to simplify things. It's like unbelievable, like simplify things. That's not what we do. So because of why they cannot concentrate. So they can concentrate. These people, if they give them keywords, so sometimes you go to to customer support, to talk to them, they try to hear keywords, and they say, okay, that's did I resolve all of the issues? And I will say no. So whoa, I said, did I answer it? I said, you did not answer my question. That's you answer your question, whatever you wanted to say, but I ask you totally different question, right? So people cannot concentrate. That's a big issue. Thus our sages declared, Sota 21b, whoever teaches his daughter Torah is like one who teaches her tales and parables. That's terrible, basically. Our translation based on Rambam's commentary of the Mishnah Sota 3.3. So sometimes this word is even translated romance. The Miri renders its vanity. Explain the woman who studies will boast her achievements, right? And it is true. So women, since there were women that they came to our house, and after sometimes you see that she's like 3 times smarter, not smart, 3 times knowledgeable, or 10 times or 100 times knowledgeable that her husband. You understand? So, and if she will start boasting, of course he would not like it, and it's going to come to the family issues, of course, right? This applies to the oral Torah. So I mean, but she's obligated to on other parts. With regard to the written Torah, at the outset, one should not teach one's daughter written Torah. However, if one teaches her, it is not considered if she was taught idle things. Written Torah. Okay, 92. Commentary. Though the Rambam statements are quoted in Shulchan Aruch, Yoreh De'ah 246.6, the source of this statement has been questioned. Some points out to the Mishnah, Nedarim 3.3, which in passing mentioned the daughter's study of the written law. However, the Rambam's own text of the Mishnah lacks the words or daughters. Very interesting. Others points to Hagiga 3a, and more specifically to Yerushalayim Talmud 1.1, which describe the reading of the Torah by the king during Hakel celebration. Which so Hakel is I think it's in 7th year. So in 7th year, when after the Shemitah's year, after the Sukkot, so they would build this platform specifically for a king, right? And then the Beis Hamikdash, and he would read some parts from the Torah very loud, right? So and it says who should come and hear, men and women and children, right? It's so men and women to learn, and they say why children must come. They say so to give the reward for their parents for carrying them. Okay, so let's see. So he described the reading of the Torah by king during the Hakel celebration, which women were also required to attend. Nevertheless, there is a difference between study of the written law in its entirety and hearing the reading of the few inspirational phrases. So it's, I mean, he just read one parasha, not even one parasha. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what pieces he reads, but only some. Okay, see to raise a half, 246.4. Continue. In a contrast, it might be noted that Tur's text of the Rambam reverses the statements and mention teaches of the woman of the oral Torah is preferable to written law, which is, I mean, logically it makes sense. Oral Torah, she needs to know all of these laws, right? This can easily be reconciled with opinions mentioned above, which requires a woman to learn the laws governing the mitzvahs she is obligated to fulfill. In a contrast, the written law is less closely defined field of study, right? So I mean, it's Halachah, right, from the beginning to the end with a commentary, with explanation, but it's easier to to grasp it. But when you read the commentary, sometimes some people like to go too deep in some things, so they would read all of the commentaries. And sometimes it's too much. You lose the idea, right? But the written law is pretty much to the point. There is greater possibility exists that a woman who is not gifted may be misinterpret the teaching. Of course, as we said, you have to, but with a commentary, not to misinterpret anything. 1 second. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Or? Oh, no.